What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak about Caitlin Clark in this video. And even though the last game I watched, they played the Mystics, and Caitlin Clark hit that she hit that winning 3-pointer to beat the Mystics, right? I still think that this relationship between the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark is over with. if you look at after Caitlin Clark hit that shot and won the game, it didn't look like like her coach was really happy, and some of the coaches on the staff. You did have Sophie Cunningham was happy and excited about the situation. It didn't look like her coach and the coaching staff, it seemed like they could really care less, right? And I think what's going on with Caitlin Clark and the Fever is that there's some tension there and some animosity there. And I think basically the only reason why they're playing Caitlin Clark is because they know that they have to play Kate. They have to play her. They don't want to, they can't bench her, and they can't really like run her out of town. So I think Caitlin Clark is going to have to wind up separating herself from them. And I was listening to Jason Whitlock, and Jason Whitlock, he brought up some interesting points about not only Caitlin Clark, but her circle, like the people around her. Now, I think to this point, Caitlin Clark has been very patient, very patient about this situation. People say that, well, she's a diva and she's acting out, right? But that's only that's only recent. When you look at her past 2 years, year one and year two, seemed like she showed a lot of patience and was very coachable. And so now this, she may be getting frustrated. And so that's why you're seeing Caitlin Clark probably, just act out and speak up more. So I want to listen to this audio from Jason Whitlock, because he, like I said, he makes some interesting points, and I want to react to the points that he raised. And so here we go with Jason Whitlock.
Caitlin Clark has to demand a trade right now, immediately. It's the only way to fix this Indiana Fever situation. She has to demand a trade. She has to take care of herself. She can't trust anyone, not her head coach, not the assistant coaches, not the general manager, not the team president. She can't trust her teammates. Let me tell you who she really can't trust. She can't trust her agent either. Caitlin Clark is in the middle of a hot mess that I am very familiar with. She's going through the exact same thing I went through my second trip around at ESPN. She is surrounded by people that don't have animus towards her, but she is just way too piping hot, and they're all running for cover.
Now, let me just say this about Caitlin Clark's agent and some of the people that she has representing around her. Sometimes when you have people working for you, they forget just that. They forget that they're working for you. They kind of base some of their moves or what they tell you on like how your decisions will affect them. When it's not about them, it's about doing what's best for the client, right? And the fact that Caitlin Clark have her father in her corner, and I'm not sure if that's her husband yet, but her fiance and her father in her corner, those are the people that I think, in my opinion, that like family members that she should really be leaning on. Like the people who work for Caitlin Clark, then you know what I mean? Like that's how you get them. You remind them that like I said, you work for Caitlin Clark. And so they can't take into account like what her decisions, how that's going to affect them, because they are the employees.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
Caitlin Clark needs a whole new team, from agent on down to team on down. Caitlin Clark has to take this situation by her own hands, with her own hands, and correct this. If she doesn't, this thing will drag out and she will be destroyed. The LA Sparks is where she needs to go, and she needs a new agent to orchestrate this entire thing to get her out of Indiana. The Indiana Fever organization's not going to do it. They don't want to be the bad guys. They don't want to go down in history as the idiots who forced Caitlin Clark out of Indiana.
Why shouldn't you be fired?
Well,
Caitlin Clark.
And let me say this too about Caitlin Clark agent. Like I said, if she's not working on and keeping Caitlin Clark's best interest and making that priority number one, then she definitely have to go. The fact that Caitlin Clark has a tight circle, like with her father and her fiance, that in my opinion should keep the agent on point, because she knows she may be able to manipulate Caitlin Clark and get some things over on Caitlin Clark, because Caitlin Clark may not be focused on everything. But her father and her fiance definitely keeping an eye on the situation. And that seems to me like that would be enough to motivate the agent to make Caitlin Clark a priority.
To do what's in her own best interest. She needs her father to step up and assist her in putting together a whole new team from top to bottom. And that includes getting rid of the agent, the power agent, Aaron Kane, who can't be on her side.
you're fired.
Because being on Caitlin Clark's side means being on the wrong side of the whole alphabet mafia issue. This is not saying that Caitlin Clark is against the alphabet mafia.
I know there's been so many amazing Black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important.
She's got to divorce everybody. She's standing in a circle of people that cannot support her. Look at her teammates. What organization would put 4 former South Carolina players on the same roster as Caitlin Clark? Those are Don Staley soldiers. Who surrounds Caitlin Clark with Don Staley soldiers, knowing how Don Staley felt about Iowa, about Lisa Bluter, and Caitlin Clark?
Watch what you say when you're in public and you're talking about my team in particular.
Now, I don't really have a problem with South Carolina players, being on the Indiana Fever team. I know that Aaliyah Boston and the young lady Raven Johnson, right? They want to win. They want to win. They also want to win. So I don't think that it's affecting their relationship with Caitlin. Raven Johnson and Aaliyah Boston, in my opinion, seem to be very close, with her. And so I don't think that's an issue. I think the issue more so, in my opinion, comes from the organization. For some reason, they don't want to put this, the trust and the support behind her that I think, and that a lot of her fans think that she need in order for her to be, successful at leading this team.
Caitlin Clark has to woman up and tell the world, I want out of Indiana. I want out of this cesspool of deceit and destruction and chaos and dysfunction. I need a fresh start someplace else. Caitlin Clark, woman up. Ask for a trade today. She's got this agent that she thinks is on her team and on her side. And she's not, because they're not politically aligned. Aaron Kane is a hardcore political feminist activist. Caitlin Clark is indifferent to it, or it's just like, I'm kind of with it, but I'm not really into it. But her agent is. And Caitlin Clark can't figure.
Now, even if that's true that Caitlin Clark agent is a feminist, right? You can kind of see why Caitlin Clark, because if Caitlin Clark is indifferent to it, people that work for Caitlin Clark are sometimes going to have different, different beliefs. But that, and like I said, that shouldn't affect the way that this lady do, her job for Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has to be her number one priority when it comes to doing business for Caitlin Clark, not what her affiliation, what her affiliations are. So I don't really think that that's going to be an issue, in my opinion. Like I said, she do need to have people around her that she trusts, which I think she do, and that's going to look out for her best interest. I think the problem the problem with Caitlin Clark is like I said, her first 2 years in the league, she was just very patient about the situation. Didn't really want to make waves. Like even when you listen to her talk about the situation that was going on with like the everybody was talking about collective bargaining and stuff like that. She more so sided with her peers than the organization. When you listen to her, like they just played a clip of her paying homage to the women who came before her in the league and the women who built the league. So she is saying all the right things, and doing all the right things. But to this point, I think she's frustrated because saying the right things or doing the right things haven't really worked out for her. So now she has to probably be a little bit more selfish and take the bull by the horns, like Jason Whitlock says. So that's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. And with that being said, I'm going to check y'all out in the next video. Peace.